All right, we are live. Welcome, everyone. My name is Laura Cantu, and we are here today with my brother, Francisco.
Hello, hello, hello.
We are here to share some insightful information and just to chat. This is our first official live show. So we are really, really excited. I know that we've been kind of doing them in the past. Well, we weren't here last week, Francisco, right? We weren't able to go live, but today we will be sharing a live stream. We will be going live and we'll be sharing some really cool information, really important information with you about the college admissions scholarship process, the changes to the FAFSA, because the new FAFSA is opening very, very soon. This year, there were some changes to the FAFSA form, and I will be sharing all about those changes very, very soon. So, yeah, do you have any announcements or anything you wanted to share, Fran?
Yeah, just to give an overview of what today's presentation is going to look like, it's going to be a show, it's going to be a conversation, it's going to be a talk. We have different talking points that are going to be pertinent to the world of college admissions and that are going to be relevant to parents and students alike. So hopefully you learn a thing or two throughout this conversation. I very much invite you all, as you are listening in to Laura and I's talk, to use the chat feature that you can share your current situation. You can ask your questions, because the more that you engage with the live stream, the more that it will be promoted and that it will be shared by the algorithm. And obviously, the more people that we can reach, and the more people that we can reach, the more success that we can have, we can grow, and also more people are going to be learning valuable information. So that would be very, very helpful if you can go ahead and help us out with that. But other than that, we have different sections, different topics that we want to cover, and hopefully it all provides value to you all.
Yes. So today we are discussing the first thing that we are going to be talking about and sharing in this live stream today is going to be the new changes to the FAFSA. As some of you may know, if you have been watching our content and keeping up with all the information that we share week after week, the FAFSA form has been changed for this year. Usually the FAFSA is available October 1st, but this year there were some changes and the form is not going to be available until December 31st. Well, I say until because I feel like we're still in October, or even starting the school year, but we're literally about to finish December. Like before we know it, it's going to be 2024. But yeah, this year the FAFSA is opening in a different date. It's
Yeah.
going to be available by December 31st. So do you want to go ahead and, talk about some other big changes to this form? Because it's not only the date that's changing, it's many other things that are important and that you should know about.
Yeah. So just to make sure that we're on the same page, FAFSA, free application for federal student aid, it itself by itself is not a scholarship, it's not a loan, but rather it's a form that assesses the family's financial makeup. And by completing that form, different entities, the federal government, the institutions that you'll be applying to, they'll be able to see the family's financial foundation, because it is going to ask for information about the family's income. It's going to be based on the tax returns. It's going to ask for number of dependents and all that good stuff that's going to contribute towards getting a good financial picture of the family. So now that we are all on the same page, one of the big changes, on top of obviously the date of opening, because again, as Laura mentioned, in other years in the past, October 1st has always been the magical date where the free application for federal student aid becomes available to the public. However, this year, if you go to studentaid.gov and you look at the latest releases, you're going to see that it says that the form will become available by December 31st. And that's just the first of many changes. One of the big ones, one of the most important changes that can affect you, your student, anyone watching this who will be completing the form for the 2024-2025 school cycle, is the fact that before, the methodology or the calculation through which the family's financial makeup was assessed would take into consideration, on top of information from the tax returns, certain components such as how many students are in college at the same time, for example. Now, it's going to pivot into kind of like when you go to get your insurance and you go to the marketplace and it looks at the family's, standing versus the federal poverty line. Well, now the free application for federal student aid, the methodology through which the family's financial need which is called the Student Aid Index. Before it was called the Estimated Family Contribution. But basically, the number that identifies how much need is presented, or how much financial need the family has, will be more so derived from the federal poverty line. So is going to be looking at, okay, where you live and how, for example, if you go to the Federal Bureau's website, or different marketplaces website that will tell you the federal poverty line for the number of dependents in your household and the income that you make, that will give you a very good estimate as to where you stand compared to the federal poverty line.
Mhm.
And that will be factored into your financial need. Less so things, again, like how many students are in college at the same time, but more so based on the federal poverty line. And then all that is going to determine eligibility for things like Pell Grants or work study and all that good stuff. So that change in methodology is probably the biggest impact that will have tangible repercussions in everyone who's watching this and their wallets.
Exactly. Yeah. So big changes coming up for the FAFSA form, and it's going to be available again by December 31st. And it's important. We were discussing this in our Spanish live stream to. Just because, like, another change is that there's going to be less questions each section if the student is applying as a dependent. Just because there's less questions, this doesn't mean that you should just be like, okay, less questions, it's easier, let's not pay as much attention to it. You should be paying extra attention to the answers, even though there's a whole IRS tool that it's supposed to be making it easier to fill out, because it does take the information from directly from the IRS into your FAFSA application. Just because this is established and this is going to be helping you fill out the form doesn't mean that you shouldn't be double checking, that you shouldn't be careful when completing the FAFSA, because mistakes can happen, and mistakes do hurt your students' chances of receiving the most financial aid and scholarships as possible. So it's important to be very careful, to be double checking everything, because we have seen it, over the years. Parents and students who make mistakes and unfortunately miss out on getting the most financial aid as possible, because a lot of colleges and a lot of times federal aid is first come, first serve. So it's also important that if your student is a senior, if they are currently in college and they have to renew this form, that they submit it and they do it the earlier the better, right? On time and correctly. So yeah.
Yeah, basically the way that it works, for those of you who are listening and are unfamiliar, what we teach our students inside Best College Aid is that basically through the free application for federal student aid, as I said earlier, financial need, financial foundations are determined, and then you become eligible for certain amounts of money or certain types of money from different entities. But with a lot of these types of help, what you will see, or what students will see, is that it gets distributed on a first come, first serve basis. And if the form is considered incomplete, and it could be considered incomplete because it was not filled out correctly, some of the questions were wrong, the students didn't click submit at the end. So even though there's less questions, as you said, not paying attention to making sure that the form is submitted to completion will in turn result in the form being considered not actually having been filled out. And then in return, the total sum of money to which you're entitled or eligible to receive will become lesser and lesser and lesser. And obviously you want to become as eligible for as much money as available. So that is why we teach our members inside Best College Aid. And hopefully those of you watching this, that the earlier, as soon as it becomes available, the better.
Yes, the earlier the better. All right. So those were some things that we wanted to share, and the importance of these changes to the FAFSA, and how it's now, how big of a deal it is that the date changed. Because I think for as long as I could remember, the FAFSA, like since we were in high school and before our older brother was in high school, the FAFSA would open on October 1st. So when we first heard here at Best College Aid earlier this year that this form wasn't going to be available till December, there was a lot of questions that obviously we did our research, and over time, the more we learned, we figured, okay, that it's all going to work out, and I guess it's understandable. But yes, in the beginning, even there's parents who ask us, well, if the FAFSA is opening in December and my student is applying early decision, is this going to affect it? if your student already applied to college, don't worry. The FAFSA is not available till December, and colleges and universities know this. But do apply, do send it out as soon as possible, as soon as it opens, which is by December 31st.
Right. The exact date might come out in a few days. It could be tomorrow. It could be a week from now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's important to, as the time of filming this, we checked right before going live.
Yes.
Check the studentaid.gov's website, and in the release section, all of you watching this could figure out or could keep track of the announcements. Okay.
Yes. So this today's show, we obviously covered the new FAFSA. Now I kind of wanted to move into a different topic regarding like the world of college admissions right now and something that is happening at the moment, because we have students inside of Best College Aid who are currently hearing back from colleges that applied early action or early decision, and that is that students or colleges that had early applications such as early action, early decision, those are starting to roll out. Schools such as, I believe it was UPenn, and some of the Ivy Leagues were announcing this past weekend, over the past few days, their decisions for those early action, early applicants. So that's a big deal, because we do have a lot of students or a lot of people who followed us, who comment on our social media platforms or content about them planning to apply early. So if you are watching this and your child apply early, or if you've heard from some schools, or maybe you haven't heard because maybe they're letting you know, it's all through December usually. So if you haven't heard, maybe you'll hear soon. Let us know in the comments section. Let us know if you did apply early, if your student did apply early, where did they apply to, or if they haven't, if they're applying regular decision. But we did want to give a shout out to all those students who have been getting accepted. We had students who got accepted into Penn State University, OSU, the University of Oklahoma. We had a student already get into the University of Miami, starting to hear from those really, really, really good schools. So,
yeah. And this should also be an invitation for those of you who are watching, who have students who might not necessarily be in 12th grade right now, but who are in 11th, 10th, 9th grade. Let this be a lesson on how capitalizing, and we've talked extensively on these live streams and certainly inside our Best College Aid program about the benefits of applying early in terms of admission statistics. There are, in an overwhelming amount of schools, more favorable admission statistics for students who apply under early action or early decision. But on top of obviously all of the boosts or all of the more favorable conditions that come along with applying early, there's also the human element of heading into the holidays with some acceptances under your belt.
mm-hmm.
With, what I always tell my students in Best College Aid, I always tell them that after their first acceptance, their worst case scenario just went significantly up. Before, their worst case scenario was not going to college. And now, whatever school accepted them becomes their worst case scenario. And then the more acceptances that they get, the more they can rank them and see what's a better fit for their goals. So that is certainly something that you should capitalize on and take advantage of, so that you can make the best out of your college application journey, and that you can head into the holidays with the best news possible.
Yes. So congratulations if we have any people watching, or if you have anyone that you know in your life that did get accepted or hear back from these early application decisions. Congratulations. And if you are not even a senior, well, it's important to know these things. If your student is maybe ninth grade, middle school, it's important to start getting familiar with these things. Like, let's explain, if you're kind of confused listening to this, what do you mean early applications? Just a little summary of why these students are hearing early from colleges and universities. If a student applied to college, early action or early decision. Now, not every college and university has these types of early applications. A lot of colleges do. A lot of students do decide and do plan to apply to college early and to use those early applications, because we do teach that inside of Best College Aid. If it does if you do it strategically, if you do it correctly, and if you have the stats applying early can actually be a good way to maximize your odds of getting accepted. It could be a good strategy depending on the school, depending on the student, if it's a target rich safety school. Um, so these students who are hearing back from schools applied early action or early decision. Some might have applied rolling admissions because that's also an option. And there are some regular decision schools too that kind of start letting students know if they got accepted on a rolling basis. But it's mostly the regular decision and early action, early decision students who are hearing back from the colleges they applied to. So this was done back in what, Francisco, November, October?
Yeah, the earliest admissions, the earliest early action opening deadline or closing deadline would be October 15th. There's a handful of schools that do that. And then the next wave, there were the November 1st wave, and there was the November 15th wave. There were some that were November 30th, December 1st. So, yeah, those are the typical dates for the main batches of early applications. They could be early action or early decision. But again, let this be a testament for those of you who are not yet seniors that this is something that you should capitalize and that you should take advantage of. And for those of you who are seniors who did this, well, congratulations to you. Hopefully you hear back soon and hopefully they're good news. And if you have not yet done so, then let's go ahead and kill those regular decision applications.
Correct, correct. So that was the second topic that we wanted to discuss. And finally, the third thing that we wanted to do is share some free tips for you and your student. And this is some winter break productivity tips because the holidays are here. A lot of students, a lot of schools are out for the for winter break, for vacation. Some students have told us that they finish school during this week. So we decided to share some free productivity tips, some free information, some free tips that you could help your child, that you should definitely, apply over the winter break vacation to maximize your child's odds of getting accepted into the right college with scholarships. So, first productivity tip or first winter break tips for my students, specifically for my seniors. I know that we just talked about early action, early decision applications, but if we have any parents of seniors, any seniors who are watching us that are still working in their college applications, or who are planning to apply regular decisions, maybe you are a student who wanted to get a better GPA during that first semester of senior year to have more of a well-rounded application to kind of show the colleges and universities that you're applying to that you finished strong, or you just needed to raise that GPA. Maybe you needed to retake the SAT or ACT, whatever the reason may be. If you haven't done so already, because you're planning to apply regular decision, make sure that you're working on those applications, polishing them, because you want your application to be the best that it can be. So that's my tip for my seniors. Also, just because you're a senior does not mean that you cannot and should not be applying for private scholarships. And honestly, private scholarships, Francisco, shouldn't this, like, anybody who is in middle school, ninth grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, they could be applying to private scholarships.
Correct. Yeah. So private scholarships, that's one of the big trends that we see or that we've seen throughout the years is that, okay, senior year starts, you are very used to spending the first semester preparing those applications. You spend September, October, November writing those essays, sending out those scores, gathering your transcripts, all those components of completing the college applications. However, when January, February, March rolls around, a lot of students are left with a feeling of, okay, now what? And with that being said, students go ahead and kind of make up for the time being by not or by completing private scholarships because they have that extra free time in their hands. And something that they do is, okay, I'm going to fill out those private scholarships and I'm going to capitalize over those and I'm going to finish out the year strong. And they may get 1, 2, 3, 4 private scholarships. It could be $500 scholarships, $1,000 scholarships, $2,000 scholarships. But what they don't realize, or what they don't continue to do, is once they get to college, whether it's a recurring grant or whether it is a one-time thing, they complete it and then they're done without kind of going back into the habit of continuing to apply for those scholarships, right? So don't fall into that trend of only applying for scholarships because you're done with college applications and you have the extra time and then never do it again, but rather get into the habit of using search engine tools. In Best College Aid, our students learn to use Scholarly, FastWeb to find local scholarships through their high school, through their community, through parents, employers, all those things. They get in the habit of not just doing it during their second semester of their junior year, but of their senior year, but rather as a recurring thing throughout college. Because again, you could apply for scholarships, for private scholarships, as early as ninth, 10th, 11th grade of high school, but also while you are in college, and continue to apply, and don't just get hung up on the senior year scholarships, but get the most of it because it's one of the few stages in your life where you're going to be paid for writing an essay, sending your scores. Super simple.
All right. So, yes, make sure that you are taking advantage of your free time and that you are really utilizing the time to apply for private scholarships. Additionally, this is a tip that is applies for maybe not necessarily my seniors unless they haven't done so already. If you're really just your student has done nothing about the college application process, and I believe that this is one of, or if not the most important part of the college admissions process, and that is to work on your college list. If you are a junior, sophomore, freshman in high school, really do try to work on that college list because there's what over 4,000 college accredited colleges and universities in the United States.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And really doing your research, really dedicating time to understanding what every college has to offer. Not only that, just looking within yourself, having your student really analyze who they are, what they're looking for, what they want to study, and know what the family's finances are to really create the right list of colleges that is going to have the schools that will be not only accepting them, but also offering them the right amount of financial aid and scholarships, because a lot of students unfortunately will just apply to a random college, a random school because, oh, my best friend's going there, or my great grandpa went there, or I saw this school on a movie and it looks really cool. No, it's about finding the right school, finding the right college, and applying to the schools that are going to be the right fit academically in the extracurricular level as well, which schools are going to have the athletic program that your student is looking for, or the extracurricular marching band program, or the theater program, and also ultimately which schools are generous and which schools are going to be offering your child financial aid and scholarships. So really do try to work on these college lists, because it's really a very important part of the process, the college application process.
Yeah. After having done this for 5 years now, thousands of students inside Best College Aid in our program, Laura, you can attest to this. One of, if not the most important component of the college application process is making the proper list of colleges. Why? Because you don't want to waste your time, you don't want to waste your money, you don't want to waste your resources, your effort going to a university that is not going to satisfy your needs. And yes, you listed out a whole bunch of different criteria that should go into the search process. You noted extracurriculars, so maybe study abroad opportunities, location. But ultimately, the two most important are: what does your student want to study? So the academics, and how much financial aid or demonstrated financial need does the university have a history of satisfying, right? Because at the end of the day, what we want to do is we want to study what we want to study and be able to pay for it or not go into debt, right? So with 4,600 universities, or around those many universities available out there in the US, there is a school or a set of schools that are going to satisfy your needs. It's just a matter of, okay, making the list of colleges, setting strict criteria, and then dividing them into reach target safety schools, develop an application strategy between early action, early decision, which types of applications are going to optimize or maybe make you apply under the most favorable set of conditions, and then capitalizing off of that, completing everything correctly, making sure that what you already did is presented in the best light and the best foot forward. And truly, that is basically the super summarized way. It sounds super quick and super simple, but that is the secret recipe, or the sequence to success, that we teach in Best College, and that has led students to Ivy League schools, to full ride scholarships, to national merit scholarships. So yeah, that is in essence what you should be doing.
Exactly. So make sure that you are creating that list of colleges. It's the most important, in my opinion. Maybe Francisco, you might have a different opinion on that, but it's to me is one of the most important parts of the college admissions process, because in order to get accepted into the right college, you do have to do your research and look up those schools. Alrighty. So those were the topics that we wanted to share with you. Now, I do want to let you know about a few changes that are happening to Best College Aid, because starting next year, and this is for the people who are interested in becoming members of Best College Aid, we are having some changes to our membership. So if you have been considering joining our Best College Aid family and becoming a member of Best College Aid, but you just haven't done so already, I just wanted to let you know that starting next year, usually, or for the past few years, Best College Aid has operated as a lifetime family membership. But starting next year, we will be changing to an annual membership that renews annually every year. So if you are interested in joining Best College Aid, these last few days of the year, it's really your last opportunity to join Best College Aid in the lifetime family memberships, to basically join for the price of, with our current discount, our current holiday discount. We do have a 50% off. You would have to make just one payment, and you and your family would have access to our Best College Aid membership for life. So if you are interested in joining Best College Aid, but you just maybe you were waiting, or you were just, not sure, just wanted to share this with you, because I really do want you to take advantage of this opportunity to become a member. And not only that, have just the opportunity to do a one payment and have access to all of our amazing benefits. Because again, starting next year, things will change, and it will be a annual membership that does have to be renewed. But if you were to join now before the end of the year, you will have access to Best College Aid. And if you're interested in learning what is included inside of Best College Aid, or if you're just interested in learning more information, we have a free training. It's called the Secrets to Go to College with Scholarships. It's a free training that Francisco prepared, where he goes over the most important things, aspects of the college admissions, and we go over the biggest questions that people have asked us throughout the years. So if you're interested in learning that, we do have that free training in the comment section that David is going to share in the comment section, and also in this video's description. And at the end of that presentation, we do share with you our discount, a link with that
50% off discount.
Yeah, with that 50% off discount. So if you're interested, I do invite you to register to that free presentation, so that you can get access to that. I don't know if you want to share anything, Francisco.
Yeah, and as we wait, if there are any questions that we could read in the chat, as we wait for those to come in, just to summarize everything. Right now, from now until the end of the year, but truly, again, it's a process that the earlier you start, the better. Our methodology starts as early as middle school. So you really, unless your kid is 3 years old, our lessons and our content and our advising starts as early as 6th, 7th, 8th grade. And if you join before we go into the annual subscription model, and you take advantage of that 50% off discount that we are offering right now, that one payment will cover you until the students graduate from college. And it's a family membership, so it'll cover everyone in the household. Some of our benefits that you'll learn in the presentation, the link in my bio, is going to show that some of the benefits, like, for example, a partnership with Dell Technologies. In Black Friday, some shops will have, their online stores will have discounts that you can access only through those days, while our Best College Aid members have a specific link to Dell Technologies that parents, students, kids can use to buy equipment and to buy resources to prepare. We did that so that they would be best equipped for work from home, and we kept that partnership. So that's just one of the discounts. Access to study materials for the SAT, ACT, access to all of the lessons, the methodology, the guide of what exactly you should be doing at each month of every year so that you are on top of the process.
Yep.
If you join right now, you'll get access to all those things. Again, those are just some of the many benefits. And even if you don't want to learn about those benefits and you're just interested in getting more free presentation, more free value, check out the free presentation that is in the video description. And as Laura said, it's worst comes to worst, you just get a lot of value, and I'll see you, and we'll see you next week in these trainings shows.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. I really hope that you found value in this presentation. We had a lot of fun. We definitely need to, let us know in the comment section any topics, anything that you would like us to discuss. And we will get better in time. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful week. We will be back with these live streams. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, and if we don't see you, we'll be back here at some point next week for the holidays. But if we don't see you before Christmas, happy Christmas, happy holidays. Enjoy with your family. Thank you so much for allowing us to be part of your lives, and hopefully you learn a thing or two. And yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your week.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.